My best friend was famously ugly, yet he only chased models and wealthy older women. After the girl he liked ignored him, he came to me with red-rimmed eyes. He insisted I hand over the money I'd saved to lend him for plastic surgery. He promised that once he became handsome and landed a rich woman, he'd immediately pay me back and give me another 200,000 yuan as thanks. 6 months later, he got his wish and became a total heartthrob. He also snagged a wealthy older woman, but when I asked him for my money, he said his natural features had always been good, and the hospital surgeons were highly skilled. What did any of that have to do with me? Seeing him shamelessly deny it all, I only wanted to tell him, picking a fight with me was like hitting the jackpot, because the super plastic surgery system bound to me had, on the day he came to me, already locked onto him. If I wanted, he would keep changing. I could even strip him completely of his manhood and turn him into an ugly, muscular woman. After his surgery succeeded, he quickly joined a modeling agency that would never have looked at him before. With his decent way with words and new face, he thrived there. Of course, his main target had always been celebrity model Li Weiwei. Li Weiwei lived up to her name. She was gentle and beautiful and came from a wealthy family. She was the dream girl of countless men. The old Wang Hao would have felt ashamed just standing within 30 feet of her, but things were different now. He carefully arranged chance encounters and fawned over her at club events. Using that new face and tricks he'd learned somewhere, he actually caught Li Weiwei's attention. When he first got Li Weiwei to have dinner with him, I still covered the bill. He said it was the last bit of support he needed from a brother. The payoff was just around the corner. When he returned, he was practically glowing. But whenever I brought up repayment, he pulled the brother card. Why are you in such a hurry? Once I win Li Weiwei over, everything will be taken care of. This is the critical moment. You can't hold me back. We're brothers. What's mine is yours. Finally, for months later, he successfully won Li Weiwei over. He even held a celebration at her home. And according to him, Li Weiwei's father was pleased with both his talent and his looks, hinting their families could pursue deeper business ties. On the day of the celebration, Wang Hao stood in the center of the living room with an arm around Li Weiwei. He accepted everyone's praise and congratulations, as if he'd already reached the peak of life. I walked through the noisy crowd and approached him. Congratulations, Wang Hao. I spoke calmly, seeing the perfect smile on my face. Wang Hao paused so slightly it was almost imperceptible, then became even more welcoming. Kid, you're here. Find yourself a seat. Eat and drink as much as you like. He gave a casual wave, as though dismissing a beggar. Li Weiwei glanced at me from beside him, her lips curling faintly in disdain. I ignored his attitude and spoke directly to Wang Hao. Wang Hao, what you promised me before, repaying the money with interest, and that 200,000 yuan reward. Don't you think it's time you paid me? The room instantly fell silent. Several pairs of eyes turned toward us. A mocking smile appeared on Wang Hao's face. Then, wearing an expression of utter disbelief, he said, Ha, 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 Lin Xiao. What did you say? Pay you back, a reward. He doubled over with exaggerated laughter. He tapped his ear. Everyone, listen to this. My dear brother is counting money with me. The people around us immediately looked at me with contempt. Seriously, Hao? Talking money between brothers really ruins the relationship. Who is this guy? He looks pretty honest. So why is he asking for money right away? Could it be because you've made it big now, Hao? And he's here to shake you down. Li Weiwei gently tugged Wang Hao's arm and asked softly, Is he the one you mentioned? The one who merely helped you contact someone at the plastic surgery hospital? Her tone carried just the right amount of confusion and displeasure. Wang Hao immediately put on a helpless yet forgiving expression. Yes, that's him. We used to be close. I helped him plenty, too. I never thought he was this kind of person. He shook his head and sighed. When he turned to me, his face had already darkened, wearing the anguish of someone betrayed. Lin Xiao, I never thought you were this kind of person. I did have a little work done on my face, but that is because I, Wang Hao, had good features to begin with, and the hospital's doctors were highly skilled. I was the one who went under the knife. You only ran a few errands for me. How can you have the nerve to demand so much money? My heart sank bit by bit. All those nights I stayed up researching and comparing hospitals. All the times I worried myself sick for him, waiting outside the operating room. All the meal money I saved to buy him supplements. All the living expenses he borrowed from me again and again. Yet he dismissed it all as A few errands. I looked at his handsome face, as excitement and pretense twisted his features slightly. I took a deep breath. Wang Hao, you can call the 200,000 yuan reward a joke. But I fronted you 120,000 yuan, and another 3,700 yuan. There are transfer records. There are chat records. Just return the principal. I will forget the extra 3,700 yuan. I thought that, at the very least, he'd agree to save face. But I was wrong. Wang Hao was like a cat whose tail had been stepped on. His voice instantly rose. Pointing at my nose, he snarled, 120,000 yuan, Lin Xiao. Are you so broke you've lost your damn mind? Why don't you take a good look at yourself? You bought me a few meals, made a few calls, and that is worth 120,000 yuan. What are you? My father or my mother? I treated you like a brother before, which is why I let you share in my success. I never thought you were an ungrateful snake. Is it because I'm with Wei now, and you can't stand it? So you came to extort me. Keep dreaming. Li Weiwei added at just the right moment, her voice dripping with superiority. How? You're not in the same league as people like him anymore. Don't waste your time on him. Wang Hao faced the watching crowd and loudly declared, everyone, see him clearly. People like him forget loyalty the moment money is involved. He can't stand to see his brother doing well. Let me make this clear today. From this day forward, anyone who continues associating with Lin Xiao is disrespecting me, Wang Hao, and disrespecting my fiancé, Li Weiwei. He deliberately emphasized the word fiancé. Li Weiwei played along with a shy smile. Then, as if shooing away a fly, he pointed at the private room's door and gave me an ultimatum. Get the hell out of here right now, or the Li family's security guards will make you regret it. I did not look at him. I did not look at anyone else either. I turned around and silently left the room that made me sick to my stomach. After leaving the restaurant, I returned to the apartment we had once shared. I took several old clothes he had discarded, a broken game controller, and a photo of us together in high school, then tossed them all into the trash without hesitation. But before I could even catch my breath, I saw that Wang Hao had personally posted a long message on Weibo. It read, I always treated Lin Xiao like my own brother. Back then, I ran into a burning building to save him. That was how I was disfigured. Now that I have achieved a little success and won Weiwei's heart, he became so jealous that he made an outrageous demand for an enormous reward. After I refused, he even humiliated me in public. I am truly disappointed. It turns out some people only care about money. Forget it. I simply misjudged him. All my sincerity over the years was wasted on a dog. He even attached a picture at the end. It was a photo of us in our old apartment, eating instant noodles together. He deliberately chose an angle where I looked especially pathetic, circled me in red, and wrote two glaring words beside me, greedy. And that was not all. Wang Hao and I had once had many friends in common. They all helped repost his message. Some even exposed my WeChat and phone number. At once, I was condemned by countless Wang Hao fans and those former friends. How can this Lin Xiao be so shameless? You never truly know what someone is like inside. He must be green with envy. Hao is in a different league now. He is practically the Li family's son-in-law. And what transfer records? When he saved you? Why did you not transfer him some money then? I held my phone, and my vision kept going dark. I tried to explain, but no matter how I explained, countless paid trolls kept hurling abuse and scorn at me. With his new status and his lies, Wang Hao successfully nailed me to the pillar of shame as an ungrateful traitor. The next day, as I rode my bike to my office building, Wang Hao blocked my path. He wore expensive casual clothes, with both hands in his pockets. His face openly radiated mockery and satisfaction. With no one else around, he no longer bothered to pretend. Lin Xiao, why are you even struggling? He drawled, like a cat toying with the mouse beneath its paw. He stepped closer. His eyes turned venomous and gleeful as he leaned nearer, speaking so only the two of us could hear. Let me tell you something. I have been sick of you for a damn long time. You thought saving up 80,000 yuan made you something special, did you? You thought being decent looking gave you the right to strut around in front of me, did you? But look at you now. Look at this face of mine. Look at Li Weiwei by my side. You are nothing but a stepping stone on my path to success. A fool I can kick aside the moment I am done with him. From now on, hide away in some dark gutter, like a dog, and watch me live a life of wealth and glory." I looked at the face, brimming with triumph and vengeance, its handsome features twisted out of shape, the last trace of warmth in my heart vanish. In its place came a bottomless coldness and calm. The instant he finished speaking, the mechanical voice that had been silent for some time rang clearly through my mind once more. Target lock. Wang Hao has gravely violated his conscience. He has denied the contract. He has trampled on the host's dignity. The system's punishment protocol is now activated. Does the host confirm? Activation of punishment mode. Wang Hao was still savoring my humiliation before me, the sneer at his lips growing deeper. I raised my head and looked at him calmly. In my mind, I silently confirmed the system. Then I said to Wang Hao, "Congratulations. I hope you get everything you wish for. But do not forget, your perfection comes at a price. I hope you can afford it." Wang Hao froze for a moment, then scoffed. "A price? Lin Xiao, you are becoming more and more like a dog. With the way I look now, I'm still too busy enjoying it. Get lost. Do not let me see you again." Thinking I was bluffing, he cursed at me, then turned and swaggered away. I watched his upright figure fade into the distance. Wang Hao did not take my warning seriously at all. He believed the whole world lay beneath his feet. The Li family's resources were beginning to tilt subtly in his favor. Those who once looked down on him were now all circling around him. A few days later, he posted a set of 9 high-definition portraits on his social feed. The backdrop was a luxurious hotel suite. He wore a bathrobe, showing off his toned chest. The caption read, "A new beginning. Grateful for everything, and even more grateful for the best version of myself." The likes and comments quickly topped 100. People flooded the comments. "My husband is insanely handsome. It would be a waste if Hao did not become a celebrity with that face." Li Weiwei commented, "My beloved Hao Hao." Wang Hao replied to everyone, "Thank you, everyone. I am simply being my true self." As he reclined against the headboard, basking in praise, he suddenly felt a swelling tightness in his chest. He frowned and carefully pulled open his robe to inspect himself. It was probably just his imagination, so he paid it no mind. Target detected. Continuing to engage in hypocritical bragging. Target's feminization traits have risen to 20%. Injecting 20 points of estrogen. Reducing testosterone production by 10%. Breast enhancement process continues. Host gains 15 karma points. Looking at the 2,000 yuan I had won from a lottery ticket, I sneered. This was only the beginning. Wang Hao's ambition swelled along with his improved appearance. He was no longer satisfied with merely being Li Weiwei's boyfriend. He began using the Li family's name to invest in small projects, packaging himself as a rising young business star. At a young entrepreneurs event hosted by the Li family, he spoke at length to several potential investors about a biotechnology project he barely understood. He piled on technical jargon, claiming to be one of the project's key discoverers. Meanwhile, a young bespectacled doctor in the audience was already looking displeased. He was the project's actual lead. Li Weiwei sat in the front row, her brow slightly furrowed. She sensed that Wang Hao was going too far. Just as Wang Hao said, "This technology will overturn the current landscape. I predict its valuation will grow 100-fold within 3 years." His raised left hand suddenly formed a dainty, feminine pose. As everyone stared at the gesture in shock, he stared blankly at his own hand for a moment. Then he casually hid it behind his back. When he tried to give a composed, confident smile, the right corner of his mouth twitched uncontrollably. It instantly ruined the elegant expression he had carefully maintained. Combined with his earlier feminine hand gesture, he looked slightly unhinged. A faint stir ran through the audience. People began whispering to one another. Li Weiwei's brow furrowed even deeper. Panic gripped Wang Hao. He quickly adjusted his expression and forced himself to finish calmly. Target detected engaging in serious false statements and exaggerated deception. Karmic backlash intensifying. Target feminization level increased to 30%. Breast enhancement process continues. Injecting 20 points of estrogen. Reducing testosterone production by 25%. Host gains 30 karma points. Storing 30 luck points. I lay on my bed, scrolling through my phone. As I watched the 30 luck points arrive, the corner of my mouth curled upward. At the dinner after the event, Wang Hao could clearly feel it. Some investors had grown cold toward him. Instead, they crowded around the young doctor. It infuriated him. Li Weiwei also began noticing something was wrong with Wang Hao. His voice was becoming higher and thinner, and his chest seemed more swollen than before. Even his mannerisms when he spoke had become rather coquettish, like a woman's. It sent a shiver of disgust through Li Weiwei. She kept feeling that the person sitting across from her was not her boyfriend, but more like one of her girlfriends. She gently suggested, How, have you been under too much pressure lately? Your emotions seem a little unstable. Maybe you should get some proper rest. Panic rose in Wang Hao's heart. He suddenly realized he might be acting a little too effeminate. He hurriedly blamed it on recent stress. He steadied himself, then seemed to remember something. He made an excuse and rushed into the restroom. He pulled down his underwear and looked. What the hell? Why has my manhood shrunk so much? No. Calm down. It has to be the stress lately. That must be it. He collected himself and slowly let out a breath. Right now, I need to make money fast. As long as I make money, everything can come back. He shook his head, trying to clear his mind. He sorted out his thoughts and realized he urgently needed quick cash to prove himself. Then he thought of me. An idea immediately took root in his mind. Soon, a rumor about me spread through a small circle of business contacts. Lin Xiao, jealous of his friend Wang Hao's success, had become mentally twisted. He was spreading rumors that Wang Hao's cosmetic surgery had failed, and that he had climbed the ladder through women. He had even tried to harass Li Weiwei. His character was utterly vile. The rumor caused me real trouble. My company politely let me go. Former classmates I had worked with avoided me like the plague. At a gathering, Wang Hao complained helplessly to friends who asked about it. Sigh. I never thought Lin Xiao would turn out like this. He used to just be poor. How did he become so jealous of me? But no matter what he does to me, I still remember the bond we once shared. For now, I have chosen not to pursue it. As he said this, his face was full of anguish, as though he had suffered a terrible injustice. Yet just as his emotions peaked, his shrill voice began to make those around him feel that something was off. Why does he sound a little like a woman? Yeah, and he is always covering his mouth, like he is pregnant or something. Whispers kept rising around him. The people listening to him wore increasingly strange expressions. Target detected maliciously spreading rumors to slander the host. Karmic Backlash activated, forcefully triggering target feminization to 40%. Injecting another 20 points of estrogen, reducing testosterone production by 60%. Breast enhancement process advanced to 40%. Host gains 30 karma points. Stored. Just as Wang Hao passionately recounted his miserable ordeal. Before everyone's shocked eyes, his pair of breasts visibly swelled. Wang Hao was completely stunned. When he came to his senses, he frantically tugged at his clothes to cover his chest. He stammered, I have been working out a little too hard these past few days. My muscles have gotten all pumped up. Then he gave a few loud laughs and fled the scene. Once outside, he stared at his soft breast. Without time to think, he went straight to the best men's health clinic. After examining him, the doctor said, it might be caused by excessive estrogen production. He prescribed some oral medication and told him to monitor it, but it barely helped. After leaving the hospital, he called me directly. Without letting me speak, he launched into a furious tirade. I yawned and said, Wang Hao, apologize to me properly right now, then pay back my money. I might consider letting you off. Just then, Wang Hao suddenly noticed from the other end of the call that his chest was slowly returning to normal. That only made him more brazen. Let me off. Who the hell do you think you are? You are letting me off. I can just go back to that hospital and get it fixed. Who are you trying to fool? You pathetic little worm. With that, he hung up on me. Over the next few days, his body language gradually became even stranger. Even when he walked, he sometimes felt an urge to sway his hips. And whenever he saw the high heels Li Weiwei usually wore, he felt the faintest urge to try them on himself. Meanwhile, he took all his anger out on me, trying to make himself feel better at my expense. He did not stop at spreading rumors. He began using the little power he had recently gained to undermine me. My job applications were rejected for no apparent reason. The boss at a new part-time job I had struggled to find soon received an anonymous call, claiming I had serious character issues. Even my landlord was unwilling to let me keep renting her place. I had no choice but to stay in a hotel for the time being. I endured it all in silence, while coldly watching the signs on his face of karma become increasingly obvious. Her feminization had reached about 50%. That face was still attractive, but her hips had noticeably begun to widen, while her waist was slimming down. An unmistakable feminine air now clung to her, along with a faint, peculiar odor, especially when she was plotting against others or getting carried away with herself. Her fingers would always curl into a delicate pose whenever she was home alone. She could never resist secretly wearing women's bras and underwear. As for me, after my recent streak of bad luck, I redeemed the luck points I had saved up while cycling around in search of work. A piece of gold on the road suddenly flashed in my eyes. I cautiously took it to a gold shop to see whether they would buy it. To my surprise, it sold for 30,000 yuan. That was enough to ease my financial troubles for now. I knew full well that simply waiting for luck was no way to get ahead. So I quietly began making preparations. I knew that on their own, these little problems would not be enough to bring him down. I needed an opportunity, one that would expose him completely before everyone, leaving him no way to deny it. That opportunity came soon enough to cement his image as a rising talent and draw in more capital. Wang Hao joined forces with several shady friends to organize a so-called youth investment pitch event. He brought in the Li family and several small investors who did not know the truth to endorse it. He planned to take the stage himself and present a project he supposedly led, a business plan for a short video talent management agency. He had bought that business plan from someone else at a high price and given it a superficial makeover. On the day of the pitch event, he made the event look incredibly lavish. Wang Hao wore a custom-tailored suit, with his hair slicked back until it gleamed. He stood at an imposing podium, with a flashy presentation behind him. Li Weiwei and her parents sat in the front row. At first, Wang Hao's presentation went fairly smoothly, though his smile was somewhat effeminate. His memorized script and decent speaking skills barely kept the event on track. The more he spoke, the more absorbed he became. He began bragging about his unique vision and industry connections, making the data he had bought sound miraculous and promising enormous returns. Just as he became immersed in his brilliant speech, a vicious karmic backlash struck, perhaps from all the excitement and lying. Her chest began swelling again. One of her shirt buttons burst open, together with her fingers already curling into delicate poses. People below gradually began noticing something was wrong and whispering among themselves. Panic immediately seized Wang Hao. He yanked at his shirt to cover her swelling breast. He tried to gather his thoughts, but the moment he opened his mouth, a shrill, high-pitched voice burst out. He sounded like a damned eunuch from a Qing Dynasty palace drama. The laughter from below steadily grew louder. Li Weiwei's face turned extremely ugly. Her parents frowned deeply. They turned to Li Weiwei and demanded, "What kind of freak did you find?" By then, Wang Hao was utterly panicked on stage. He forced a smile and tried to correct himself, but that uneven smile only grew more crooked the harder he tried. One corner of his mouth strained upward, while the other drooped as though it were paralyzed. Ha ha! Someone in the crowd was the first to burst out laughing. Then snickers and murmurs swept through the room. Someone get this guy a tampon. His boobs are bigger than my wife's. Is he even a man or a woman? So this is what Li Weiwei is into. Wang Hao stood on stage, his mind completely blank. He could clearly hear the ridicule below, see Li Weiwei's deathly pale face, and her parents' livid expressions. He could feel his body and facial expressions betraying his will. He tried to explain into the microphone, but in his panic, he instinctively thought of himself as a woman. We women must be strong and independent. And no, that is not what I meant. Ha ha! Look at this little lady. Hey, little lady, give us a smile. This time, the crowd's laughter could no longer be contained. The entire event had become a comedy show. Target detected committing business fraud at a major public event, causing severe repercussions, and suffering public humiliation from karmic backlash. Social death confirmed. Deep punishment triggered. Target feminization increased to 60%. Administering a massive dose of estrogen. Host awarded a massive 500 karma points. May redeem 500 luck points. Or select special options. A. Live exposure. Cost, 50 points. Immediately send proof that the target purchased the business plan, and evidence of the target spreading rumors about the host. anonymously to everyone at the event. And key figures in the local business community. B. Reinforced collapse. Cost, 30 points. Make the target's breast enhancement effect permanent. C. Save points. For future use. I watched on my phone the video a friend at the event had kindly sent me, along with the system's prompt. A cold smile curled across my lips. This was not enough. I wanted to make sure he never recovered. Select A. Live exposure. Also select B. Reinforced collapse. I gave the order in my mind, spending 80 karma points. Command executed. On stage, Wang Hao's legs went weak. A security guard was supporting him. In a daze, he glimpsed that the guard looked rather manly. Before he could think further, he tried to flee the stage in utter disgrace. Li Weiwei had already stormed out in fury. Her parents followed, their faces dark. They did not spare Wang Hao another glance. Suddenly, everyone's phones at the event, including those of the judges, investors, and media in the front row, even Wang Hao's shady friends' phones, all at nearly the same moment, erupted with a barrage of email and message alerts. Confused, people picked up their phones and opened a conspicuous subject line regarding Mr. Wang Hao, the truth about rising star Wang Hao, and evidence of his malicious smears. The file contained 1. Wang Hao's purchase of a multi-channel network, project business plan including complete transaction records, chat logs, and the original files. The evidence was irrefutable. 2. Recordings from different occasions where Wang Hao personally promised Lin Xiao repayment of 5 million yuan, as well as a 200,000 yuan fee. 3. Wang Hao's instructions to others to spread rumors about Lin Xiao, documented in their communications, along with screenshots of several transfers. 4. Wang Hao complaining that he was ugly, and the full story of how he turned against his best friend. The chain of evidence was complete and impossible to dispute. The room first fell deathly silent, then erupted into an even greater uproar. Holy crap, this freak is a complete con artist. He stole someone else's project for his pitch. That is despicable. Exactly, just look at him. Neither man nor woman. Miss Li must have been blind to fall for him. Call the police. This is fraud. Every scornful, furious, entertained gaze became like tangible arrows, aimed at Wang Hao, who clung to the young guard's arm, his face ashen with despair. Then, at that moment, Option B took effect. Wang Hao's chest steadily swelled larger. It burst through 3 buttons. The huge breast burst free. They were fully exposed before everyone's eyes. Wang Hao hurriedly covered his chest. He sat on stage, screaming in terror, like a young wife who had been humiliated. Some people took pictures. Others recorded videos. But no one helped him. Tonight, Wang Hao would go viral in the most humiliating way imaginable. I closed the live stream link my friend had sent. Then I put away my phone. I knew Wang Hao's punishment was not over. He owed me more than money. He also owed me for all the humiliation and pain he had inflicted on me for so long. Wang Hao's disastrous pitch night hit like a depth charge. The high-definition footage of him clutching his chest in disgrace, and the irrefutable documents and recordings in the evidence file, formed a brutal contrast. It tore apart every lie he had carefully constructed. The Li family's severance came faster and harsher than anyone expected. Less than half a day after their statement was released, every project connected to Wang Hao and every link to him on their social media accounts had been erased. Li Weiwei's father even called in favors to stress to the relevant authorities that the Wang and Li families had never had any substantive business partnership. Everything before had been a show Wang Hao staged himself. It had nothing to do with the Li family. Li Weiwei herself was urgently sent abroad to recover and clear her head. Online gossip accounts went into a frenzy, claiming she had been deeply traumatized and developed a psychological fear of men. Those rich heirs who once called Wang Hao their brother immediately deleted every interaction with him. Some even came forward with revelations, saying they had long known Wang Hao was rotten to the core, neither man nor woman, and creepy as a ghost. Overnight, Wang Hao became truly alone. But what terrified Wang Hao most was the curse that followed him like a shadow. He found that all the hair on his legs and face had vanished. His Adam's apple had disappeared too. Lately, nothing he wanted to wear was remotely conventional. They were either little dresses, or camisoles, or even stockings. Then something suddenly occurred to him. When he pulled open his underwear and looked down, he let out a terrified scream. His manhood had shrunk by at least half. Doctors examined him again and again. From neurology to endocrinology to psychiatry. Neither herbal medicine nor sedatives did anything. Gradually, his mind began to warp. But he did not immediately hide away. Like a beaten dog. After the breakdown and terror, his rage at losing everything and his bone-deep hatred for me instead awakened the most vicious side of his nature. He shut out the outside world and built up his inner strength, telling himself he had to keep going. He would always be the most beautiful, always one of a kind. She began putting on makeup to conceal the flaws in her appearance. She put on a short skirt, slung a pretty handbag over her shoulder. A confident woman shines. She racked her brains for a way to turn things around and drag me into a deeper pit than her own. She knew that her old rumors and her current appearance alone would accomplish nothing. He needed a new stage, one that could ruin me and offer him a slim chance at survival. Just then, news from the Lee family reached him. Several prominent local entrepreneurs were about to hold their annual charity gala. Lee Weiwei's family had originally been a key participant. Though they had cut ties with Wang Hao, the gala would proceed as planned. Wang Hao's hate-filled eyes immediately lit up, using bits and pieces he had previously heard from Lee Weiwei about the gala's schedule and some of the guest information, together with his miserable circumstances. He began carefully crafting a scheme. He would find a way to infiltrate the gala, then publicly accuse me at the right moment. He would accuse me of extortion, spreading rumors, and defamation. More than that, he would frame me, claiming that, out of jealousy over winning Lee Weiwei's heart and the Lee family's approval, I had tampered with his medicine or skincare products, leaving him in his current state. He would portray himself as a pitiful man destroyed by a treacherous friend, his reputation in ruins. To carry out this plan, Wang Hao used the last of his hidden resources. He sold several designer clothes he had bought before, and some accessories. He also contacted someone he had known in his old street gang days, a fixer called Blackie who specialized in dirty work. He asked Blackie to work with him. Meanwhile, I did not let down my guard either. I knew Wang Hao would never let this go. Though the system no longer gave frequent notifications, I could feel that the karmic link still remained, and was tightening with Wang Hao's growing malice. Once the charity gala's public announcement was released, I immediately became wary. This kind of event was fucking perfect for him to cause trouble. After considering it carefully, I decided to make the first move. Through my startup project, I approached an upright senior student I knew, who had heard about what Wang Hao had done. I obtained a standard guest invitations to the gala. Then I used the money the system had rewarded me earlier to carefully prepare an appropriate outfit, so I would look clean-cut and respectable, the complete opposite of the sinister villain Wang Hao might portray me as. Next, I secretly prepared several items: a high-definition audio and video recorder disguised as a fountain pen, and an organized file covering Wang Hao's cosmetic surgery loan, his promised payment, his later betrayal, and his rumors and defamation, with a full timeline and key evidence. Finally, and most importantly, I focused my mind again and tried to communicate with the system that seemed dormant in my mind. I was not seeking direct punishment. I only wanted to know whether, at this crucial moment, the system could offer any warning or assistance. The system detected that the host faced a major malicious trap and that the target's karma continued to deepen. The following support is available. 1. Danger warning. When the host approaches physical danger arranged by the target, or someone directly connected to the target, the host will feel a slight flutter in the chest and sense which way to go. 2. Evidence assistance. The system will enhance the clarity of the host recording devices and their resistance to interference, ensuring key footage cannot be accidentally deleted. 3. Karmic pull. At the critical moment when the target commits a malicious act, the host may actively influence, slightly accelerate the target's karmic backlash, or make coincidences more likely, making it easier for them to expose themselves. Enough. I took a deep breath. On the night of the charity gala, the 5-star hotel's ballroom was packed with influential guests. I entered quietly, found a spot that was not too conspicuous, but offered a clear view, and sat down. I activated the pen's recording function. Sure enough, before long, I spotted Wang Hao. He had not entered through the front door. Instead, he was disguised as a janitor pushing a cleaning cart, wearing a mask and cap, but those eyes, full of hatred and tension, were impossible to miss beneath his disguise. He hid in the shadows of a side corridor beside the ballroom, watching the room. The gala reached the charity auction. Wang Hao seemed to be waiting for his moment. Just then, I felt a slight flutter in my chest. My gaze instinctively shifted toward a waiter carrying drinks. His eyes kept darting around. As he headed in my direction, the system issued a powerful warning. I immediately stood up and pretended to take a call, casually walking the other way, to avoid the waiter's path. At the same time, I noticed that when Wang saw me move, he became visibly agitated and murmured something into his earpiece. The auction soon came to an end, and the guests began mingling freely. Wang knew he could not wait any longer. He suddenly rushed out of the corridor and tore off his mask and cap, revealing his flushed face covered in heavy makeup. He charged straight toward the host's platform at the front of the ballroom, where the crowd was thickest, and many reporters were gathered. "Everyone, quiet. Listen to me," he cried in a shrill voice. His voice rang throughout the room through the host microphone. In an instant, every eye turned toward him. Those who recognized him, or had seen the news, gasped. His face, neither male nor female, startled them. "I am Wang the Wang who was ruined by someone not long ago." Tears immediately streamed down his face. His fingers involuntarily curled into a dainty pose again. He looked exactly like a young wife, used and abandoned by her lover. "The person who harmed me is here tonight. It is that hypocrite, Xiao." Countless eyes instantly focused on me. I stood where I was, utterly speechless inside, with the way he was acting. He made it sound as though we had been having an affair, but my expression remained calm, with even a touch of appropriate surprise and confusion. "Xiao, you vicious, scheming bastard." Wang pointed at me, his finger trembling. "You are jealous of my looks. Jealous that I was with Li Weiwei. You poisoned the medicine you gave me during my recovery. You turned me into this freakish mess. You did not just cheat me out of my money. You even wanted my life. Everyone, look at my face. He did this to me." He was hysterical, painting himself as the perfect victim. The room erupted in uproar. Many people looked at Wang horrific face, then at me, their eyes uncertain and suspicious. The media cameras immediately swung toward us, hungry for gossip. Li Weiwei and her parents were there as well. Their expressions instantly turned dreadful. Li Weiwei's father fixed a sharp gaze on me, then shot Wang a disgusted glance. In the midst of this chaos, I was not as panicked as Wang had imagined, nor did I immediately shout a defense. Under everyone's watchful eyes, I walked steadily toward the host's platform and quietly said to the flustered host, "Excuse me, may I borrow the microphone?" My composure earned me some goodwill. The host hesitated and handed me the microphone. I turned to the crowd and first gave the organizers and guests a slight bow. "I am deeply sorry. Because of a personal dispute, the peaceful atmosphere of tonight's charity gala has been disrupted. I apologize to the organizers and everyone here." Then I looked at the frenzied Wang my voice clear and steady. "Wang you claim I poisoned you. Do you have any proof?" Wang froze, then roared, "It was you. Who else hates me that much?" "It was after I used the things you gave me that I became like this," I sneered. "If I remember correctly, during your cosmetic surgery recovery, you thought the hospital's recovery products were not good enough and insisted on buying high-end imported products yourself. I kept every purchase record and delivery receipt. I have them all. Would you like me to show them to everyone now? Did I handle the purchase of even one of them?" Panic flickered in Wang eyes. I did not press the point further. Instead, I dropped a bombshell. Over 6 months ago, Wang came to me for help because he thought he was too ugly. I gave him the money I had saved for years, every cent I had set aside to start a business, a total of 123,700 yuan for his cosmetic surgery. He told me then that once it succeeded, he would repay me and give me an additional 200,000 yuan in thanks. The room erupted again. He funded his friend's cosmetic surgery with 120,000 yuan, with another 200,000 yuan promised as payment. That was completely at odds with the image Wang had painted before, that I had merely been tagging along. It was a completely different story. "You filthy man, you're lying. It was never that much." Wang accused me as he wiped away tears. I could see the people below struggling not to laugh. I have excerpts from our chat records and recordings. Would you like to hear them? I made as if to use my phone. Wang face instantly turned white. He had not expected me to actually have recordings. He was about to say something, but I cut him off. Whether they are forged can be verified by technical experts. I kept pressing him. "So, Mr. Wang after your cosmetic surgery succeeded, and you finally won Miss Li Weiwei, Did you repay my 120,000 yuan principal as promised? Did you pay the promised 200,000 yuan reward? No. I was short of money then. Wang Hao had clearly lost his nerve. Yet even while you were short of money, you could buy designer clothes, throw lavish parties at upscale venues, publicly humiliate me at one of those parties, and throw me out. Was that me framing you too? I turned to the crowd, my voice sorrowful, but clear. I helped him out of friendship. What I received was not gratitude, but betrayal, humiliation, rumors, and slander. And now this malicious accusation at a charity gala. He says I am jealous of him. What exactly would I envy? His broken promises? His repaying kindness with betrayal? Or this grotesque state he's in now? The mood in the room had begun to shift. Many people now looked at Wang Hao with contempt. He funded a friend's surgery, only to be bitten back. That was far more disgraceful than an ordinary dispute. Seeing that things had turned against him, Wang Hao gritted his teeth and shouted, "Hi Pai, do it." The instant he shouted, I focused all my will and guided the karmic pull. In a flash, Hi Pai, the man Wang Hao had ordered around earlier, suddenly slipped for no apparent reason and pitched forward. Several glasses of wine on his tray splashed directly onto Wang Hao. Wang Hao was soaked from the neck down. Wang Hao let out a scream. The sudden wine shower left him utterly bedraggled. He stood there frozen like a drowned rat, and from the fallen Hi Pai, a small plastic bottle rolled from his pocket. It rolled right to the feet of a sharp-eyed guest. The guest instinctively picked it up and sniffed it. His expression changed at once. This looks like some kind of illegal drug. The entire room exploded into chaos. He brought illegal drugs to a charity gala, then drenched someone in wine. That is far too much of a coincidence. Security quickly moved in and restrained Hi Pai. Seeing things go badly, Wang Hao endured the pain and shoved through the crowd, then ran for it. The guards gave chase behind him. Li Weiwei's father looked livid. He quietly said a few words to the event director. The director immediately nodded. I took the opportunity to step forward, into the microphone. Then, in a final, summing up tone, I said, "It seems tonight involves more than false accusations. There is an even more despicable plot at work. I think everyone can see who has evil intentions and who has been framing whom. You have all reached your own conclusions. As for Mr. Wang Hao, or perhaps Ms. Wang Hao, and the money owed to me, I have organized all relevant evidence. I will formally pursue repayment through legal channels. A charity gala is a place to spread kindness. It should not be tainted by lies and malice. Again, I apologize to the organizers and everyone here." With that, I put down the microphone. Under the crowd's complicated gazes, I turned calmly and walked straight out of the ballroom. As Hi Pai was led away by security, eager to lessen his own guilt, he shouted at once, "It was Wang Hao. Wang Hao paid me to come. He told me to drug Lin Xiao's drink. It was not my idea." Those words completely confirmed Wang Hao's vicious scheme. That night's charity gala was completely overshadowed by the shocking reversal. Meanwhile, the police were hunting Wang Hao. The recordings and other evidence I provided, along with Hi Pai's confession, formed a complete chain of evidence, proving that Wang Hao had planned and carried out an illegal attack, and committed false accusations and framing. His attempt to slander me at the gala made him look like a ridiculous clown in the face of such irrefutable proof. As for me, Lin Xiao, I earned many people's respect and sympathy. My startup project gained more attention and potential opportunities as a result. Li Weiwei's father even sent word through someone in private. He apologized for his daughter having trusted Wang Hao so easily, and for any trouble the Li family might have caused me. He expressed his apologies. He also hinted that if the right project came along, we could consider working together. Afterward, Wang Hao's curses, his attempts to contact old friends and make a comeback, and similar acts intermittently earned me karma points from the system. I exchanged every one of them for lottery tickets. That money, combined with what I had saved before, not only let me calmly handle the short-term trouble caused by Wang Hao's rumors, but also gave me the means to finally get rid of Wang Hao for good. I knew someone as selfish as Wang Hao would make one final, desperate lunge like a rabid dog, and in his eyes, I was his only enemy. I had to strike first. I deliberately leaked information to someone who had once been close to Wang Hao. I told them that Wang Hao had ruined my reputation before, so I was broke, living in a cheap rental in the old district, down a secluded alley. Keeping to myself, the address was one I had carefully chosen, an old house awaiting demolition. Just as expected, Wang Hao took the bait. Overwhelming hatred and the despair of having nowhere left to turn drove him to choose the most extreme course. With the last of his money, he bought several bottles of sulfuric acid, a small can of cheap flammable spray. For good measure, he also tucked a small knife into his pocket. Late that night, before he acted, I received a death threat from a public phone. Xiao, just you wait. I will kill you. I calmly recorded the call and went to the building across from the rental house. Then I checked the high-definition night vision camera I had set up in advance and the recording equipment. The window was cleverly covered with old newspapers, leaving only small openings for the camera. I lay quietly hidden in the darkness, like a patient hunter lying in wait. At 3 a.m, all was silent. A figure in a filthy hood, with a scarf covering most of his face, hunched over and stumbling, slipped into the alley like a ghost, even with himself so thoroughly concealed. His distinctive, slightly crooked gait caused by uncoordinated facial muscles, and those eyes beneath the dim street light, glittering with madness and pain, instantly confirmed that Wang Hao had come. He stopped before the old house's door, warily looking from side to side. Then, with trembling hands, he pulled the small spray can from inside his jacket. He then carefully took from his backpack a glass bottle wrapped in a rag. He unscrewed the cap. A sharp, pungent smell drifted through the air. He raised the bottle and aimed it at the crack in the door. The cloth over his face rose and fell with excitement. His eyes gleamed with the mad delight of total destruction. At that very instant, the system notification sounded again. Final reckoning triggered. Karmic mirror reflection. Initiating root cause retribution. If you hadn't courted disaster, you wouldn't be dying. I thought to myself. Time seemed to stretch and warp. There was a dull bang. Not an explosion, but a shattering sound that was even more nerve-wracking. The glass bottle raised in Wang Hao's hand was as if an enormous invisible hand had clenched it hard from within. Spider web cracks instantly covered the bottle. Then, just as Wang Hao was about to strike, it burst apart. Wang Hao's scream did not even have time to leave his throat before it became a heart-rending whimper. Wang Hao suddenly reeled backward. His hands flew instinctively to cover his face, but the liquid had already soaked through his cheap face covering and came into direct contact with his skin. A horrifying sizzle sounded at once. White smoke and the foul stench of scorched flesh spread through the air. He collapsed to the ground, rolling in agony. A ghastly, inhuman rasp came from his throat. As the saying goes, good fortune rarely comes twice, but misfortune never comes alone. The cheap spray can in his other hand was also affected by that mysterious force. Its valve twisted and began to leak. Cracks spread across the canister. The gas inside mixed with the air and ignited from sparks caused by his rolling. A small, ghostly blue flame suddenly leaped up, licking at his liquid-soaked, smoking sleeves and the fabric across his chest. Fire! Help! Wang Hao became a burning mass, howling and rolling on the ground. The entire alley filled with firelight and the stench of burning. His piercing screams carried far into the night. I calmly adjusted the camera's focus, making sure every detail was recorded. Only when his struggling began to weaken did I use the unregistered phone card I had prepared to call the police and emergency services. In a disguised voice, I briefly explained. There is a fire in the alley by the street. Someone is hurt. It looks like someone spilled something and caught fire. Then I hung up and turned off the phone, removed the SIM card, and snapped it in half. 10 minutes later, police sirens and ambulance wails drew closer. I had already packed up the equipment and slipped away, as though I had never been there. Wang Hao was unconscious when he was rescued. He had deep second and third-degree burns all over his body. His eyes were severely burned, and his airways were damaged as well. He was rushed straight to the intensive care unit. Hovering near death, police found the shattered glass bottle at the scene, along with the warped spray can and a small knife. They also found on Wang Hao a torn note with my address written on it, and a small amount of cash. The evidence at the scene and Wang Hao's injuries strongly supported the conclusion that he intended to harm someone with dangerous materials, but mishandled them, causing the containers to rupture, and the resulting harm naturally backfired on him. To the police, it made perfect sense that a man with a history of fraud and an unstable mental state, who had threatened a specific target, would commit such a deranged, foolish act of self-destruct. The logic was clear to the police. As the potential victim and the person most closely connected to the case, I was asked to assist with the investigation the very next day. I acted shocked and shaken, and at the appropriate moment provided the recording of Wang Hao threatening me over the phone. along with screenshots of his earlier online slander against me. I described how I had loaned him money for surgery, and how, after the surgery succeeded, he broke his word and spread lies to smear me, until I eventually exposed the truth. The entire sequence, showing how he might have held a grudge, was logical and clear. The chain of evidence was complete. As for why he mishandled it and suffered the consequences, all I could do was express my disbelief. Perhaps justice really does prevail. With a suitably rattled expression, my performance was flawless. After weighing all the evidence, the police essentially ruled me out as a suspect. Wang struggled in the intensive care unit for more than 2 weeks, before barely managing to survive. But his injuries were catastrophic. His facial disfigurement was permanent. His vision was severely damaged, and he would likely be blind, or able to perceive only light. The use of both hands was also severely limited. Worse still were the injuries to his airways and lungs, which could cause lifelong health problems. He would likely spend the rest of his life in a wheelchair. Whenever he occasionally surfaced from the agony and sedatives, he would only incoherently roar my name. He was deemed mentally extremely unstable. Once his condition had stabilized somewhat, and he could answer simple questions, the police took me to the hospital. Through the intensive care unit window, I saw a figure wrapped head to toe in blood seeping, bandages with tubes running through him, a barely human shape that twitched now and then. It was nearly impossible to connect him with the confident, handsome man he had been half a year ago. The police turned on the intercom and signaled for me to speak, hoping to calm him down or uncover a clue. I leaned toward the microphone, my voice calm and even. "Miss Wang, are you all right?" The bandaged figure inside instantly stiffened, then began convulsing violently. In a voice bordering on madness, he rasped in broken burst, Lin Xiao. "I will kill you. You, just wait. I will burn you to death. I will make you lie here too." I said nothing. I looked at the police officer. The officer sighed, understanding at once. Wang had clearly revealed a strong motive for murder. The chain of evidence was complete. In the end, Wang's tragedy was ruled to be a tragic accident caused by his own criminal actions. But considering he had ultimately brought this upon himself, and was no longer capable of serving a prison sentence, the case was closed. I walked out of the hospital and took a breath of fresh air. What a beautiful world it truly was.